All right, we are recording. God, it's been fucking forever since we've done this.
I know.
Like 6-8 months at least.
It's bad.
Yeah. God, man. I thought I was gonna get more light from turning on the top, but
This is probably the brightest recording that I've gotten ever. Because like you can see like the shadows on my face still, but it's not super dark.
yeah,
My complexion will look a lot brighter than
I
I
need to
am.
I need to get a light, or I might upgrade my camera to get because they have ones with a
Oh,
light
it's
on it,
okay.
like a Ring camera. All right. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Bastions and Basilisks. Oh, I got to change the name. See, it's been forever since I've done this.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I'm Kalvin.
I'm Brandon, and it definitely has been forever since I've last done something on this channel. Other than actually our game, but other than that, yeah, we haven't done anything together in a bit.
Yeah, I'm a totes profesh. All right, we're gonna go over because it released recently, and Brandon here finally got some time. I mean, I have some free time too now, lots of it. So we're gonna go over the changes. My friend James, who was in the RuneQuest episode, um, he kind of told me a little bit about druids, and I'm unimpressed thus far. So we're gonna see how it all goes. I'll read druid. You read paladin.
Sure, works
All
for
right.
me.
So then at least it's not me hogging the limelight the whole time.
That's fair.
All right. We're gonna just do the class features because we don't want to get too much because this isn't official stuff. Once the official stuff comes out, then we'll definitely read the. All right. First level, channel nature. The magic of nature infuses you. Tapping into that power, you can create various magical effects. You start with one such effect, wild shape. Oh, that's cool that they get wild shape at first level. Because I don't think they get that. Do they get it at first level? I don't remember.
I think it's magic, and then it goes to shape
I
change.
think they don't get. Yeah, I don't think they get it until like second or third. Wild. I think they get it at second. Wild shape, which is described below. Other druid features give additional channel nature effects options. Each time you use this channel nature, you choose which effect to create from among those you have from this class. You can use channel nature twice. You regain one expended use when you finish a short rest, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You gain additional uses when you reach certain druid levels, as shown in the channel nature column of the druid table. If a channel nature effect requires a saving throw, the DC equals the spell save DC from this class's spellcasting feature. I already don't like this
Yeah, it seems like
because it's like channel divinity, which I guess
so.
they're trying to kind of make it, but like I don't like I don't know. It feels like they're already nerfing druids.
Here's the thing, in which we were correct on its level 2, because in the base 2014 player's handbook it says druidic and spellcasting for level 1, and then shape change for level 2. But I agree. It's definitely, I feel like they're trying to a degree, at least, like you said, it's kind of like a channel divinity. They're trying to somewhat merge some parts of some of the classes, and it's, I don't know, maybe it's for streamlining the game to where it's like there's familiarity between some of the classes, so it's not as difficult to pick it up, mainly between magic casting classes, because we both know that I suck at learning that type of stuff, mainly on the our campaign, because I have spells and only use cantrips. But that's just like kind of the way I'm looking at it right now.
It's fine. Yeah, it's just I mean I get it if they're I don't know. It's I already think that fifth edition is a very simple game, especially compared to like Pathfinder. Pathfinder is I don't know. Pathfinder's crunchy, but like it works. So like,
Yeah,
could they make it
people love it.
simpler? Could they make fifth edition simpler? Sure, but like it's already pretty simple.
Wasn't the issue with fourth edition was that it was too simplified, so they made
No,
fifth?
we're not
Because
gonna
that's
get
what
into
I hear a
we're
lot
not,
of
we're
people
not
say
gonna
that
get into
too.
fourth edition right now because I'm just gonna talk about how much I love it. Um,
Yeah, you're like one of the
no,
few
I
people that
don't
really.
think people didn't like fourth edition because it felt more like an MMO. That's why people didn't like fourth edition.
Okay, I hear
Um,
very, so that's my thing.
All right, so wild shape this is the thing too. There are magic actions. So as a magic action, you transform into a form that you have learned for this feature. You start knowing one form, animal of the land,
I don't like this.
which is detailed in the wild shape section later in this class description. You stay in the form for a number of hours equal to half your druid level. All right, I heard that I thought it was like 10 minutes, so that's not that bad. So this is where hours equal to half your druid level or until, but you get that at first level. So you get half an hour.
I think what it,
I assume
like
that would has to say minimum one. You stay so that could just be a thing like a little. You stay in this form for a number of hours equal to half your druid level or until you use wild shape again. Have the incapacitated condition or die. You can also end wild shape early as a bonus action. I assume. See, oh well, I guess it's normally a standard action. It's only a bonus action if you take the circle of whatever, the one that allows you to do it as a bonus action. While in A form, its game statistics replace yours, and your ability to handle objects is determined by the form's limbs rather than your own. You retain your personality, memories, ability to speak. Oh well, that's good. That's actually improvement. And wild shape. You lose access to all your other features, such as the ability to cast spells. You can continue to concentrate on one. You can continue to concentrate on one. When you transform, you choose whether your equipment falls to the ground in your space or merges into your new form. Equipment that merges with the form has no effect until you leave the form. Um, so it already
it's already nerfed like
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it's already nerfing it more too, because at least in fifth edition, it says that like you keep any features that make sense.
Yeah. Also, like I really enjoy like the game like play idea of like, hey, your abilities are managed by your form, right? Like I like that idea. That's something that I can get behind. But nerfing it to the point to where it's like, okay, you can only have one form, which really defeats, in my opinion, the purpose of this. Like you could easily have it like as a DM,
Well, I
with
think it's
multiple.
actually I think so the thing is it's you start with one form, animal of the land. It's not you start with one animal shape. You start with one form of the land. So animal of the land, so which is different because there's animal of the land, animal of the sea, and animal of the sky. I think.
Okay, so pretty much it's like you can
So
choose
I think it's
one
yeah. I think
animal.
when you transform, you decide which form you're taking,
Okay, so it
and
doesn't.
then you could decide, and it's technically so it's we'll get to that, but we've decided it's anything like you can transform into anything that has wings. So technically, like if you're animal of the sky, you turn into anything with wings. Technically, you could turn into a penguin, and they get a fly speed, so you can actually be a flying penguin.
So here's my question. It doesn't directly state anything about CR, does it? Because it states
No,
CR.
but it does state that you get the stats. It tells you what stats you get. So it's
Oh,
almost like a template. You get a template. It's not you're turning into that creature, but you are not technically that creature. And that's probably why, because there's people that probably turn into like I mean, it gets to a point where I mean, if you're Circle of the Wild or whatever it is, you could turn into a CR6, so which is like an Ankylosaurus. Thankfully, CR7 is out the window because then people could turn into T Rexes, which have like 120 hit points and a 20 con and a 20 strength. Like, um, I mean, it's there are people that definitely abuse the druidic form, but um,
I'm not gonna lie, just starting off with what it is, I honestly prefer base druid, like what we have versus this.
right.
But I don't know.
The funny thing
That's
is I don't even like druids. Like I had a
druids
character
are
who was a druid or part druid, but it was only like
so
for
the most
story
I've
reasons.
played of a druid I really enjoyed. I've only played one for a prolonged period of time, aka more than just one session. And I really enjoyed the abilities. I really enjoyed being able to role play as, a druid. And I was Circle of the Moon because, I enjoy
That's
being
the
able
one
to
I was thinking of.
transform. Uh, I
Yeah,
really enjoy transforming into a variety of creatures, right?
right.
And mainly as they get stronger, as I feel like a druid should be able to do so naturally. But given the fact that, there is multiple different circles, it makes sense that they're trying to do something. But like I said, it doesn't, because you're talking about the template. It makes me wonder if the template grows with this class, so that way you're
It sort of does.
continuing.
We'll get to the template. I know a little bit about it because we
I
discussed it
don't
on
know.
Saturday during my friend James's game. So first level, you learn Druidic, which is the language of druids. I'm not going to go into that because it's a language. Spellcasting. Um, you have the following spells prepared: Cure Wounds. I assume you get to choose. Oh, okay, yeah. You have the following spells prepared: Cure Wounds, Druidcraft, Produce Flame, and Thunderwave. Alternatively, you can prepare 2 0-level spells, also known as cantrips, and 2 first-level spells. So this is just them simplifying it that if you don't know what spells to take, they're just like, take these spells.
Yeah. And they're
Whenever
not
you
bad
finish,
at all.
right?
Like,
Yeah,
Cure Wounds is pretty good. Thunderwave, Produce
Thunderwave is,
Flame.
yeah. Druidcraft is a little man, but that's,
That's more of
um,
like role play, in my opinion.
that's
I've never
yeah.
seen someone
It's like,
purposely take it.
prestidigitation or
Yeah.
there's a
It
thaumaturgy.
takes,
Like
it takes
it's just kind
someone
of a
that's really good at figuring this type of stuff out to use it in good ways like that.
so whenever you finish a long rest, you can meditate and replace any spell you have prepared for this class with another primal spell of the same level. So that's the big thing too, is that they're primal spells. So there's primal, arcane, and divine. Once again, they're making like which is like what fourth edition was. There was, so like they are almost kind of going back to fourth, which fifth edition is kind of an amalgamation of third and fourth anyway, more third than fourth, but they still took a lot of things they learned from fourth and kind of interpreting. So kind of bringing it back down, simplifying it to primal, divine, and arcane is kind of delving back towards that. At higher levels in this class, you can prepare more spells as shown on the druid table. So that's the basic normal stuff. Um, and they tell you that on the list. Spell slots. Yeah, that's like normal spell casting. Wisdom is your spell modifier. You use your druidic focus as a spell casting focus. All right, second level, Nature's Aid. You learn 2 more ways to use your channel nature: Healing Blossoms and Wild Companion, each of which is described below. See, this is the other thing is that now your channel nature, so you have to choose between other abilities and transforming. Uh, Healing Blossoms, as a magic action, you channel healing energy that appears as blossoming flowers, choosing a point within 30 feet of yourself, and spectral flowers appear for a moment in a 10-foot radius centered on that point. Then roll a number of d4s equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of 1, and add the dice together. The total is the number of hit points you can distribute to creatures in that sphere. You decide the number of hit points that are restored to each of those creatures, deducting the healing from the total.
I
I don't
I
like
don't like
that because that's even at unless they're changing stats, that means that max 20 wisdom means that you can cast it and heal a total of possibly 20 hit points.
Yeah, at the highest you can roll. I
At
also yeah, I completely agree. And honestly, at that point, unless they like later on add more to that, it doesn't give you really a good incentive to do that for a higher level. Honestly, anything past level 3, in my opinion, because at that point you might as well be casting spells or just resting more often. And
at least life domain clerics, when they use their channel divinity to heal, it's like 5 times your cleric level, so it's a solid number. So
yeah,
I would prefer that it be more like that. I mean, apparently there are abilities later on that like you can activate it when you activate your wild shape, but like it's still
it still doesn't
it's
give you
underwhelming.
enough at that
It's
point.
underwhelming.
It's an ability that you would give up relatively quickly. And
Or,
like,
or you would barely use it because you're like,
yeah,
I could turn into an animal that does a whole ton of stuff. And then Wild Companion. So, Wild Companion, you can summon a nature spirit that assumes an animal form to aid you. As a magic action, you can expend a use of your channel nature and cast a Find Familiar spell without material components. Cool. You have a familiar. That's
that's what
honestly
people have been
fucking
asking for.
useless, though, as a druid, because it's not the animal.
Yeah.
You're like, look, that's like going from God, what webtoon? I'm reading a webtoon, but it's like plus 99 wouldn't stick, and essentially the guy like somehow he is able to enchant this wooden stick up to plus 99, which makes it like literally the most powerful weapon in the game. And he just like goes and fights like what is supposed to be one like the first world boss, and he just one shots it. And like, and then it's this super god mode. It's like actually, I think also Viva La Dirt League did a thing too about it's like when you defeat the boss and then you get them as a companion. They're like, pew, pew, pew. Like they're so degraded
Yeah.
compared. Like so, it's like cool. Like look at my tiger that has, or well, no, it has to use the find familiar. So it's like cool. I have a
Yeah,
bat.
it's like
Like it's
like the boss when you're fighting it has 10,000 HP, a very high damage defense, very high speed, in like X amount of spells, right? Like it's super powerful, and then you get it, and it's like, my name is Jerry, and I have like 5 hit points, and
hi. My
I
name is
can
Greg.
sometimes if I trip, I go unconscious and die.
Right. Sometimes if there's a strong breeze, because like I mean,
Yeah,
familiars are cool and they have their uses, but they are not like
I don't
animal
think it's sorcerer's
companions.
5e.
They're not like animal companions at all.
Also,
Uh,
like this is like completely like just fluff text, but it annoys me. But back on Healing Blossoms, it says it's spectral flowers. You're a fucking druid. Why would you need spectral flowers? Like it would make a lot more sense for
you know,
the
I know. I think it's so that you're not summoning like actual flowers, because then you're summoning actual flowers, and because people could argue, be like, oh, you're summoning actual flowers in a desert or in a volcano or in a
yeah.
tundra,
But
like
you're
so.
a
It's
druid.
I know, but like at least
Magic.
it's so when you cast this spell in this way, the Wild Companion, the familiar is Fey, and it disappears when you finish a long rest. So that's the even more annoying part is like now it's gone. Like at least with Find Familiar, it's gone until you cast a spell again or it dies. Like cool, I can get this useless creature for 24
Yeah.
hours, and
It's pretty much a role play thing.
I waste the possibility of being able to turn into a fucking bear. Um, Druid subclasses. We'll get into that after. We'll go everything, and then at fourth level they get a feat. So yeah, third level Druid subclass, fourth level feat, which feats are now you gain the ability score improvement feat, or I don't know if you knew about this, but you could either take a feat that is the ability score improvement feat, which is how they've been doing it. So that's the ASI, or a
Yeah.
feat. Now it's ASI feat. Like you get a feat, and you can either take the ASI feat, which does the exact same thing as the ASI does currently in fifth edition, or take a different feat. So they're sort of simplifying. I think it's because so many people argue that feats aren't technically aren't rules as written. So whereas like with third edition, like feats were the thing, and fourth edition feats were a thing. Like I think they just worded it poorly, and so it's like, yeah, you don't have to allow feats in fifth edition, and then people are like, well, if we don't have to, I won't. And people are like, but look at all these cool abilities I'm missing out. Anyway, fifth level, Might of the Land. Your connection to the land deepens, empowering the animal of the land form of your wild shape. You unlock the form's climb speed and multi attack. Sixth level, subclass feature. Seventh level, aquatic form. You learn a new form for your wild shape, animal of the sea, which is described in the wild shapes section later in this class description. Eighth level, feet. Ninth level, aerial form, so you unlock animal of the sky. 10, subclass feature. 11th level, tiny critter. You gain the ability to become a tiny creature. When you transform into a wild shape form, you can make it tiny. If you do so, you can stay in that form no longer than 10 minutes, and the damage you deal in that form is halved. Once
What
again,
the fuck is even the point of that?
I think it's because, you could, for hiding, I guess, like you could turn into a mouse and then hide. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no. It says you gain the ability to become a tiny creature, and when you transform, when you wild shape, you can make it into a tiny. So you're saying you can make like a
Oh, so
really
like, I could be a fucking
tiny version.
tiger. I could be a tiny
Yeah.
tiger or a
See,
tiny polar bear.
I love how we both came up with the exact same first creature, which is a tiger. It's like, so a large, like it's not a size large, but it's like a size medium or something. But it's like you become a full size tiger versus, oh, let's do a very like basically a baby version of that tiger. but its adult version is just really, really like small, and your damage is halved.
You're summoning like pick me MySpace girls as
Yeah,
they're like rawr.
I
What is
just
it? It's a
and the sad thing
dinosaur.
is
It's a
that
dinosaur.
it is literally it doesn't give you it doesn't state that there's any benefits to this.
Right.
So it's up to the
But
DM
besides being
how to
tiny, and there's actually a negative because you could only, for some reason, you could only do it for 10 minutes, and
and your
any
damage is
damage
halved.
you deal is halved. Like that. Like why?
That's
Like
just punishing. I don't
yeah,
like
right,
this.
right,
This is literally making me not like. Obviously, this is playtest, and they could
right.
change in the future. But this between level 1 and 2,
And this is
how
level 11. So
yeah,
like you're getting to the point where like
you're supposed to be
you're already
stronger.
fighting real scary things, and like cool, at level 11 you can turn into a tiny creature.
What is it like
Ooh.
in base 5e druid by level what 5 you can turn into things with a flight speed because by level 3 if
Um
I'm correct you have the ability to do a swim speed. I
I
have my
think
player's handbook right here.
I
I
think
can look
it's
at it.
I'm not super worried about it right now, but yeah, I think it's well that's the thing is that your animal form you get
Well, we're talking about the druid and it's like
well
you get this
let's go through more of this, 12th level you get a feat. 13th level, alternating forms. You can now rapidly shift between a wild shape form and your normal form. If you're in a wild shape form, you can switch to your normal form as a bonus action, and you can then switch back into the wild shape form within the next minute as a bonus action. Neither switch expends the use of your wild shape. So I guess it's like, oh, if you're a tiger and you're like, I gotta walk through this here. Although, hold on, let me go back to the equipment thing. Oh, okay. You choose whether or not it falls to the ground. Okay, so you could be like, I'm a. So I guess it's if you need to like use your hands for something. Like if you're scouting ahead and you need to use your hands. Like if you're a tiger and you're like, well, how dare they use a or how dare they use a captcha? Well, now I can't get through here because I can't pick the which ones have the crosswalk on them.
so
Um,
this
Once again,
personally
it feels underwhelming.
it feels like it's more for role play than it is for anything else. Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy when they try to incorporate role play into certain things, but at that point, it's like, and this is what this feels like. If someone had the idea, hey, how can we try to force people to role play a druid more often by taking away as much power to them as possible, and then just making the class pretty much obsolete.
So
This is sort
and
of like the ranger.
then the bigger negative too is that as it's written, so if you're in a wild shape form, you can switch to your normal form as a bonus action, and you can then switch back into that wild shape form. So it's not even that you can go, well, shit, we're on land, and the enemy or whatever is now in the water. I could use a swim speed right now. So you switch to your human form, and then switch to your animal of the sea form. You have to go. You're like, I'm a tiger. I'm a human. I'm a tiger again. Well, this is stupid. Um,
Yeah, I'm
so
not
yeah,
really.
if you could switch to different forms, maybe that's something you get later on. We'll see. But I mean, that's level 13. Like it's yeah, it's very underwhelming thus far. 14th, you get a class feature. 15th level, Wild Resurgence. When you use your wild shape, primal magic radiates from you, allowing you to use healing blossoms as part of the same use. So you can go, I'm a tiger, healing for 20 points to total 20 points. If it was everybody that you choose in the 10-foot
So
radius heals, then that would be really good. But
So
it's
here's the thing, right? Here, me as a DM, this is where I would screw over how it's written. It says every time you use wild shape. So personally, switching back forms, I would say considered as wild shape. So technically, since you can switch between the forms, I would consider that as a bonus action anyway. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Might as well just use that and just keep rolling health points. That's how I would read that. Because
um
honestly, level 15, that is so underwhelming that there's no point
no,
of
it's
using
so it technically that's probably why it clarifies as alternating forms that it doesn't use it does not expend a use of wild shape. So this
See,
says when you
I
use
didn't read
your
that part.
wild shape, this is you're just switching. It doesn't say that you're using for alternating forms, it doesn't say you're using wild shape to switch forms.
I didn't read that part, so
That's fine.
thanks
That's
for
what I'm here
clarifying
for.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but yeah,
really at that
it's
point,
still
as
underwhelming. That
DM, I
it's
would
like
just
when I
as
try
DM, I would delete it.
at level 15, I'm transforming into something, and I'm possibly healing 20 hit points.
See,
Like
I would
it's
just put that into level 13 Honestly, I believe it should be way earlier.
It's all crap.
But I would put that way earlier, and I would honestly just make a feat for that, or I would just be like, hey, gain a feat by yourself, whatever you want.
All right.
15 and 15.
Yeah. 16th level feat, 17th level beast spells. When you can cast spells in any wild shape form. While in such a form, you can perform somatic and verbal components, and you don't need to provide free material components. If a spell consumes a material component, you can't cast that spell while in the wild shape form. That's pretty much just the same thing as normal druid gets. Arc druid, whenever you roll initiative, you gain 1 use of your channel nature. That's kind of nifty. In addition, the primal magic that you wield causes you to age more slowly. That's normal. For every 10 years you pass, your body ages only 1 year. That's normal.
Yeah, it's pretty much elves get to live pretty much an eternity because of that shit.
I mean, yeah, if you're a full-blooded elf arc druid, yeah. Especially if you're like I started at 100 years old, and by the time I'm an arc druid, I'm 120, and so then for the next 700 years, that's like 7,000 years.
Yeah, it's like you're old as fuck, and you're not even close to the end of your life expectancy. Because aren't they that like the maximum they typically
They're
get
like
is
they're like no, they're like I think they're like
750.
7 or 800.
Yeah, so it's like you live a long time.
Yeah. 9th level feat, 20th level epic boon. You gain the following benefits: ability score increase. Choose one of your ability scores. The score increases by 2, and this increase can raise the score above 20, but not above 30. That I kind of like.
So they're boosting the 20 cap.
I think this allows you to do that. I don't know.
Okay.
Epic boon feat. You gain the epic boon of spell recall or another epic boon feat of your choice. There's a whole thing for epic boons.
So was it like the epic thing, like a whole 3rd edition thing, or was
Well,
that 3.5?
yeah, Epic was a thing in either 3 or 3.5. It's 3rd edition. They're kind of in the same house, so I just kind of
I like it.
Well, I think it's because
there
are boons, because there are boons that aren't epic. So I think there are boons that you can get normally.
Shit, this is the difference you were talking about.
What?
I started scrolling down so we can get to the next part of it because I saw wild shape and I see the templates of what you're talking about now. So I said something because I was interested. But continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it even explains in response to playtest feedback, we made the epic boon feature in the Druid and Paladin more powerful than the version previously offered in the Cleric and the 3 experts. When we revisit those classes, we'll add the ability score benefit to their versions of the feature. So maybe, I don't know how it works, but maybe you can get multiple feats. So maybe there's multiple ability score, like epic ability score increases. All right, wild shapes. When you use your wild shape, you can transform into a form you've learned for this feature. This section includes 3 forms: land, sea, and air, or sky. Use similar form, you determine its appearance, selecting an example animal from the form's description, selecting another appropriate animal, or choosing a hybrid form that incorporates visual characteristics from 2 or more animals. The appearance you choose has no effect on the form's capabilities. So you could be a turducken. When choosing an animal's appearance for a form, the animal need be the same size as the form. For example, you could choose elephant for the appearance and small for the size, creating a form that resembles a little elephant. So animal of the land is a flightless terrestrial animal such as a bear, deer, horse, cat, dog, velociraptor, or big rodent. While in this form, you can use the animal of the land stat block, which is small, medium, or large terrestrial animal. Your creature type doesn't change. So you can be a large, which is pretty cool.
Oh, hold on. So they reneged, honestly. I think they made this part prior to actually making that one ability where you can make your creature tiny, because it literally just says you don't have to follow the rules of it necessarily, so you can make a very small elephant. So what's the fucking point of even having that as a feat when you can make a tiny?
Well, tiny is smaller than small.
Yeah, but it's like it doesn't say that there's a prerequisite like you can't go tiny. It's not in
Well,
there.
it does say that. Well, it says in animal of the land, small, medium, or large terrestrial animal, and you could choose.
They all say small, medium, or large, and then it goes into specifically.
Yeah, so you're choosing a creature of small, medium, or large. So I think that's specifying that.
You can't do it.
Well, no, it's elephants are large size, but you can make you instead of being large. So you could be an elephant, and if you don't want to be a large size elephant, you could be a small size elephant. elephant, and you still get all the benefits of being, and it doesn't even hold any actual effect. It's just you look like a small elephant.
It's just honestly what I'm getting
I
at is
think
way before you get to the template.
it's like, I don't remember, the term is
It's like
escaping me. It's like a
like
skin. Like that's all it is. It doesn't actually do anything.
like I was like stating, it's like personally, it's like before you read the template, right? This says this, and then of course you have to read the template, and most people are going to read it before you actually like have these type of criticisms. But it's just it's in my opinion a waste, and like we both kind of like already agree that that is a stupid feat in general. But the fact that this is why it makes I can see
It
in a
gets
role
worse.
play sense, or at least in certain mechanics, why you would want to do this. But at that point, your DM has to create a lot of not necessarily a lot, but it has to like how you do it. You have to sprinkle in stuff to make it worth getting that type of ability, a part of the limelight. And this it's just super underwhelming. Like I don't
Yeah,
like how this
that's
is.
how this whole thing feels. Is that
Yeah,
Druid feels very
it's
underwhelming. Like maybe they
honestly
get
what
really
this.
good spells. I don't know. Maybe their spells are going to get a kind of a big boost. But anyway, let me go through the things.
Yeah.
But because it's like, armor class while in your animal land form is 10 plus your wisdom modifier, so maximum of 15, which feels kind of shitty. Um, Hit points, you continue. So this is really shitty. You continue to use your hit points and hit dice. So like, you don't gain any temporary hit points, which is
Yeah,
the
that's the big thing.
benefit of being in the animal form. Is you're like, I get. I mean, yeah, you get a
Even
bigger speed.
tanky.
Your speed is 40, and after fifth level, you have a climb of 40. But like, an extra 10 feet, depending on your ancestry, like that could be only a 5 or 10 feet boost. Like,
Strength and dex equal your wisdom score.
yeah, which is weird that armor class doesn't add your dexterity. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, that this means that you could be a tiger if we're still going with tiger. If by a certain point you have a 20 wisdom, so you could have a 20 strength, 20 dex in your land form. But you're okay. So strength dex equals your wisdom score. Con, int, wiz, and charisma. Use your scores. Use your normal scores. Dark vision 60 feet. Languages that you know. Proficiency equals your proficiency bonus. Keen senses. You gain keen senses. So you have advantage on wisdom perception checks. Actions: bestial strike, melee attack. Your spell attack modifier to hit. So it's wisdom plus proficiency. Reach 5 feet. One target. D8 plus your wisdom modifier. Bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. And at fifth and higher, at fifth level, you gain the multi attack, so you can attack twice. So
Honestly,
it's what's the point of fucking transfer? It's what's the point of even getting the boost to strength and dex if they're not actually going to do anything for you?
yeah, like the only good thing that I see out of this is regardless of form you get dark vision. That's the only point that I
Right.
see out of it. Like
So if you're
you're
something that
using an
doesn't,
HP.
most races get dark vision. So like
Yeah.
if you
Like
turn into something that if you're a human, which who wants to be humans? They're lame. Sorry, lame is ableist. They're boring. Um, then cool. Now you have dark vision while in your tiger, bear, your man, bear, pig form. Um,
yeah, like don't get me wrong, having the ability to have your strength and dex possibly up to 20 regardless of what your creature is nice, but that does not offset the fact that this is practically just a useless template at later levels. You're pretty much just going to be running around getting destroyed because you're using your own HP. At that point, you might as well stay in your
right.
normal form, casting spells and being useful. Don't get me wrong, someone's going to like look at this and find a way to break it because everyone like there's someone that can do it. But it's like if each template is pretty much similar to this, I would not be playing Druid out of this. I would just simply not even try.
Right. Animal of the sea. Animal of the sea is an aquatic or semi-aquatic animal, such as a crocodile, dolphin, sea turtle, octopus, or shark. While in this form, you can use the animal of the sea stat block. Small, medium, or large aquatic or semi-aquatic animal. Your creature type doesn't change. Armor class 10 plus your wisdom modifier. Hit points are your own. Speed 20 feet. So that means you could turn into a shark that goes on land. Swim 40 feet. Dex equals your wisdom score. Strength, con, int, wiz, and charisma. Use your normal scores. Senses dark vision of 90 feet. which I like. It could be more. Like I don't know why Sky gets the best dark vision, but I like that.
I think
I
personally, I
like
think
because
there's like
there.
a lot of
So
bird
we were
related
playing. We were
mechanics
playing
on
in
it.
a. Keenan was running a undersea game. He gave my lobster person that race. He gave them the Nephros dark vision. We had I don't remember what else we had, but most other things. Um, Water Genasi do not get dark vision. Fire Genasi get dark vision. But the thing,
Yeah,
or no,
personally,
or is it Earth? I think Earth might get dark vision. But like the things that
fire
live
genasi
under,
do because it's
like
based off like
the
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 fire
things that
spirits.
live under the ocean, where it is dark, don't get dark vision. Anyway, um, languages proficiency, you can breathe air and water. Woohoo! You get bestial strike, but it's a D6 instead of a D8. Animal of the sky, winged animals such as bat, eagle, falcon, pterodon, or owl. While in this form, use animal of the sky stat block. Animal of the sky, small, medium, or large winged animal. Your creature type doesn't change. Armor class is 8 plus your wisdom modifier. Hit points are your own. Speed, 20-foot walk speed, 40-foot fly. So at least in some of these forms, well, oh, well, you don't get these until after 5 anyway. Okay. I was like, that's weird that you climb isn't until 5th, but you don't get sea and sky until after 5th anyway. So essentially, but Dex equals your wisdom score. Strength, con, int, wisdom, charisma, use your scores. Dark vision, 120 feet. um, Languages proficiency, flyby. So flyby is pretty good because you don't provoke opportunity attacks when you fly out of an enemy's reach. And keen senses, you have advantage on wisdom perception checks, multi-attack, and bestial strike. But in this form, it's a D4 plus so you're doing way less damage. You're doing theoretically half the damage. And you still only get two attacks. That's major boring. All right, Circle of the Moon. Maybe the Circle of the Moon. Maybe it adds a whole lot. Let's see. You've learned magical techniques that allow you to transform quickly and to channel magical protection when transformed, giving you these benefits. Abjuration spells. While you're in wild shape form, you can cast any spell you currently have prepared from the Abjuration School, provided the spell doesn't require a material component. That's kind of nifty. So you could be a bear and you're like, I cast Shield. They don't learn Shield, but that's the only one I can think of. Quick Attack. Oh, you can learn Quick Attack. That's a good move. What's the PP though? You can use Unarmed Strike as a bonus action. That's kind of nifty. So you can theoretically
The smallest
beast.
DPS thing.
You could bestial strike, and then unarmed strike as a bonus action. Swift transformation. You can use wild shape as a bonus action or magic action, but no more than once a turn. Okay. So I think it's if you have something that uses your bonus action, you can still use the magic action. So you can still use your standard action to use a magic action. Or if you're doing something else, you could be like, I cast Magic Missile. I'm terrible at Druids because I don't know any of their spells. And then transform.
You know me. I tend to just unless I specify, I allow people just to play from any spells like fucking tree. So it's like
No,
in
that's a
this
terrible
scenario,
idea because then you're giving clerics access, or you're giving bards or clerics or sorcerers or fucking warlocks, access to all of the wizard spells, which they haven't earned. Anyway,
warlocks
six,
though. But this is
six.
my thing, right? Because wizards they can learn spells, so it's like what is stopping pretty much anyone else from doing the exact same thing? That's my entire thing on it.
All right,
Like
all
certain ones
right,
that are like
okay, all
obviously
right,
cleric
okay,
protection.
all right. We're fucking side railing here now. All right, okay, all right.
This is the side monologue section of every video that we have for absolutely no reason.
Wizards have earned their degree. Okay, they
So
spent
is this a master's version in science?
they got their fucking doctorate in magical theory. Okay, they spent their 8 years postdoctorate, probably doing research. Like they spent their time learning how the entire magical framework of all reality works, and that's why they are able to learn any spell on their spell list.
So you're
Unlike
telling me that
warlocks who have a sugar daddy who got them through a community college associate's degree with tutors, and you want to say that you're so this is by the way, this is nothing on an associate's degree or on a community college, but I'm just frame of reference. Community colleges don't have as much money, and associate's degree isn't as much work. That's it. So you're saying that somehow a warlock whose sugar daddy paid for it to go to college and get its associate's degree in business management somehow is able to cast spells on par with somebody who went to school for 8+ years and understands the fabric of reality. Okay.
yes,
Well,
because and here's my argument to that. I already said, why can't they? Because let's be honest, you can make a character that's 8 years old who's already being able to do that. If you are able to do like play a character of any age and they're that young or could be that young, what is stopping someone who is like relatively older starting off, or just say in general, from being able to do that? Now,
Brandon,
obviously, the multi-class aspect
Brandon,
where you do that,
Brandon,
but that's
Brandon,
just me.
Brandon, I'm gonna keep fucking with this and it's gonna shake everything. I could give you, because I know you, and you're not an unintelligent man, but I could give you 10 years to earn the degree that I just fucking earned.
I would not have it in that long because I would give up
And
so much
that's exactly,
fast.
that's my point. Just because you are capable or able and would be given the time doesn't mean you are capable of learning. And that's not a, some people
Fair.
just can't learn certain things.
Yeah, I
And
suck at math.
the
I'm
theory
gonna be honest.
the
I can't learn a ton
practicality
of
of
spells.
it though is that wizards are the type of people that can just learn things, and they spent their time, they paid their dues learning the physics, magical physics or whatever the hell it is, to be able to cast all those spells, and that's all wizards get. So if you're giving warlocks who have a billion fucking invocations also the ability to cast any wizard spell, well, what the fuck's the point of wizards then? That's all
What's
they
funny,
get.
what's funny is that most people I meet tend to and play with tend to just be like, "Oh, I can gain healing spells. Oh, I can do like fireball," and with like fireball is a wizard spell. It's like it's always that thing, and then the end goal is wish. It's those three steps specifically. No one cares about anything
Right.
else.
Warlocks haven't earned the right.
Or like stop at fifth level spells, if I'm
No,
correct.
no. Technically, they have the access to cast once per day a sixth level, a seventh level, an eighth level, and a ninth level, and it's a
Yeah, I
very
don't know. Okay,
narrow list. Well, of course you know, because you stupid.
I've never played a warlock.
You don't have to play. We went through the class, Brandon.
I know. But how long ago was that? Like a year and a half ago?
I know. I'm just saying. I, I. It's your game and your rules.
I don't do it
But
all the
but
time. I think in
but
my current game, I don't
giving
do
a
it all
spell, we have sidetracked so hard. But giving a class, any class, the ability to cast any spell negates the benefits of being a cleric, because they get access to all of their cleric spells of that level, and it also negates the ability of being a wizard. You're like, cool, I'll just be something else, and then I could just cast. I'll be a ranger. Fuck it, let's be a ranger, or let's be a like,
another
I don't
night
know.
caster.
Yeah, any other like a
I get
Eldritch
where you're
Knight.
coming from. It does kind of steal away from the wizard, but I honestly, I only have like I think one wizard I've ever had in my D&D games, and that's my current campaign, because the sheer fact my friends just don't play magic like casters a lot. So probably
Hey,
that's where
you
like
you were
I
lucky.
am.
You're lucky. I went monk paladin, and
Yeah, I
you
was
couldn't.
very lucky
You can't. You
because who
can't.
would have
You can't handle my actual characters. Anyway, all right.
actual
Side tangent.
characters would derail my entire campaign because
You,
it sounds like all you do.
I could, especially with the two class thingamajig. I'd be broke as fuck. Um,
Jizzle. I mean,
just all. Yeah. Sixth level, elemental wild shape. All right, back to it. Channeling ancient lunar magic for some reason. You imbue your wild shape forms with power from the elemental planes, because somehow it's the moon. Whenever you assume a wild shape form, choose one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. While in that form, you have resistance to the chosen damage type, and the form's Bestial Strike can deal damage of that type rather than its normal type, with you choosing between the types when you hit. Oh, that's cool. Your form also displays sign of the chosen damage. For example, you're a Flaming Tiger. 10th level, Elemental Strike. Elemental forces imbue your attacks. When you deal damage with your Bestial Strikes, the target takes an extra d6 damage of the type you choose from Elemental Wild Shape. This extra damage increases to 2d6 when you reach 17th level in this class. So that's kind of nifty. So that means that you could do in your bear form, you could be a flaming bear. Although I like the idea of being a polar bear that's on fire. Global warming. Climate change is real, y'all.
This is a side tangent, but like every time I played like a fire genasi, I always translated that over to my B shape, and I remember I played a lycanthrope, so I made the joke I was gonna play a gnome genasi, so a really small genasi, and just turn into a were-chihuahua.
Well, genasi is its own race.
I know, but I was referencing more
unless you're in Pathfinder. Yeah, we'll go over that later when we work on your character at some point. So I really like this. I like Elemental Wild Shape because you're not getting the elemental form, so it's kind of, it's not thematic. It is thematic, but it's not cosmetic. That's the word I've been thinking of. A lot of the stuff has been just cosmetic up till. This is, you get a resistance, so that's really cool, and that's when you use it. So that is very useful because you're fighting fire elementals. You can turn into, or you're fighting something that does fire damage. You could turn into a fire bear, and you're like, oh well, but you can, and you can still choose to do bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. But you have you can give yourself one type of resistance, which is a lot.
You saying Fire Bear just immediately reminded me of that one quest from Fallout New Vegas on Honest Hearts DLC where you have to go kill that Yalguai.
Right. But yeah, like the ability to have like, and that's assuming that, like, especially if you build your character, that if you already have an element like a resistance, if you're like a not a Genasi, but like an Asmir, who have resistance to radiant and necrotic. So like you're
this is wild. It's only the one subclass that they decided to go through.
Yeah, I think it's because they're kind of testing this one out. They're testing out the class.
They just want to show how this
go further. I guess the subclasses are supposed to expand upon it. So like the level 3 ability feels kind of underwhelming. I mean, the ability to cast abjuration spells is kind of nifty because that means you can be like, I'm a bear, and now I'm a bear with stone skin. Or, which is even funnier, because you could decide to transform into a flaming polar bear with stone skin, or it could be a thunder bear. And I like it at least allows you to choose, and then the extra damage potential. So that if you're fighting something at level 10, so if you're fighting something that's weak against fire, you could turn into your flaming stone polar bear. And now you're doing, at level 10, you're doing an extra d6 fire damage. So you're doing a d8 plus a d6 plus your wisdom modifier 2 times. And then 17th, you're doing, so you're doing a d8 plus 2d6 plus 5 fire damage twice. Plus you could punch him, as a bonus action. Stone Skin's real good in this version too. In Thousand Forms, you have learned to use lunar magic to alter your physical form in innumerable ways. I'm glad I took this because you wouldn't be able to pronounce that. You always have the Alter Self spell prepared, and you can cast it without expending a spell slot. It also doesn't count against the number of spells you have prepared, so you can always cast Alter Self. That feels kind of underwhelming as a capstone ability, but maybe Alter Self's a really good spell. I don't know. All right, so that's Druid. It shouldn't be that the subclass.
Honestly, super underwhelming.
Like, it shouldn't be that the subclass adds so much to the class.
Yeah.
because it's
Like I get that pretty much base Druid is always a template, but it's like you shouldn't nerf the main class just for very strong optional abilities, in my opinion. Like it should be strong by itself, and then you should only add on top of that.
like Druid, nor like fifth edition Druid is good. I think like it's not my cup of tea, but I like it's at least useful. This feels very underwhelming because like the big thing is you use your own hit points. Like cool, I turn into a flaming stone skin polar bear who has 45 hit points. Like it's the
Yeah,
benefit of fifth edition is you turn into whatever animal, and yeah, you only have whatever their hit points are.
but that's still a temporary hit point.
But those are temporary hit. Like they should give you temporary hit points, or maybe or something. Like there should be some temporary hit points while in your animal form, because just being like, cool, I turn into a flaming bear, and then they're like, cool, I punch you in the face, and you're like, well, you hit real hard, I go steepy now. Like that's kind of the benefit of having the alternate form, especially if you're going to limit it to twice a day essentially. Well, three times a day if you take like you only get one. Well, I don't know. It didn't say that you can't get. You just get only one use spec during a short rest. Um, so if you take more than one short rest, theoretically you can get. But like it's, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I don't like the way this is looking.
no. Yeah, it's very underwhelming.
I agree.
It's um, they should do something like especially because the stat boost, like you're like, cool, I'm a polar bear and my strength is 20 and my dex is 20, but like it has no real use for me because I'm not doing it. Like, cool, if I have athletics, then in my bear form my athletics is better, or my dexterity is better, so my acrobatics or stealth is better, which is funny because I'm a flaming stone skinned polar bear who can sneak. um I don't know why I'm stuck on polar bear now, because I just think a flaming polar bear kind of sounds funny.
I mean, to
Um,
be fair, we were on the tiger thing for a minute.
yeah, but a flaming tiger seems
Kind of,
cool. It's like
yeah,
everybody knows that flaming tigers are cool. Like people don't expect a flaming polar bear,
yeah, because they're automatically, assumed to be near ice and cold.
right? Um, but I mean, but then you could also I don't know why I've also space fire, because there's also cold and acid and thunder and lightning. So I mean,
Yeah,
a polar bear covered in like frost, or like is cool too, but or like lightning or acid. Like you're kind of drooling, and it's like you're like a polar bear drooling, and it's like acid spittle. You're
pretty
like
much have rabies.
you're like
Would that
I'm
be would that be considered poison damage
no, it's
instead?
acid. It's acid.
Well, I'm saying rabies.
Rabies is a disease specifically, so
Yeah,
you'd have to make
but
a con save
well,
against it. So this went on a lot longer, mainly because of side tangent. So we'll wrap this one up, and then in another video we'll discuss Paladin.
absolutely,
Yeah, but um, I don't know. Like this feels like a downgrade for Druid to me.
it does. And it
Which
kind of worries me for Paladin because I know the playtest stuff is always either super, super broken or super, super underpowered. So we'll
like
see.
it is playtest, and so like but this is kind of the point where you want to be critical of stuff. You're like this is where you'd be critical. I don't know. Like if like I don't care much for Druid in general. It's not my class of choice, so I don't generally play them. But that doesn't mean that I think they're a bad class in fifth edition. I just don't. They're
Yeah, they're not the worst.
I think sorcerers are a great class in fifth edition. I just don't care to play one. They aren't my cup of tea. They don't have enough choices for spells like wizards or artificers, and they're not as much fun to run around and punch and kick things as monks.
No,
So
I understand.
but sorcerers are a great class. Druids are a great class. It's warlocks are garbage. But I will take every chance I get to shit on warlocks. But yeah, like it feels very underwhelming. It feels like a downgrade. Even the
It does.
wilds, even the subclass form, like
It's the subclass only, in my opinion, looks good for the sheer fact that the
big
druid in this is so garbage.
right. That's like going from like it's like the druid is like a 2 or a 3, and with the subclass it brings it up to like a 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it only looks good because the druid is so bad that we're accepting mediocrity
Right.
Just
Like we're low. The
you know,
bar is lowered, so now something that is better somehow makes it. So it's. Uh, I don't.
basically,
Yeah, I don't do like. I guess I did give it a rating of like 4 out of 10. I guess, but like
yeah,
it's the abilities are kind of meh. Like it's like I think ways
they're
to
finding
improve.
ways to pretty much take away really unique things or just rework it into a point to where it goes into this specific subclass.
I would like
Rather,
it. I would like it if like they got more abilities. Like
or
land.
at least
If
stronger
if
abilities.
or no, I wouldn't even say stronger abilities. I would say giving a choice between abilities. Like, cool, I have a climb speed and good perception. That's it.
I think the Healing Blossom thing
Like
is
I think,
fucking stupid.
yeah, it's boring. And then the wild companion, you're like, cool, I have an animal companion for 24 hours. If I want to waste one
How you
use of
know?
my X times per day, yeah, I guess I give it a 4. Like with it without the subclass, I'll give it a 2.5. And with the
Honestly,
subclass,
as someone
with
who has
Circle of
played a Druid,
Moon, with Circle of Moon, which is arguably, in my opinion, one of the only good uh, overall
subclass.
subclasses. Like there are a lot of like well, Circle of Spores is really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's pretty good
Circle
ones.
of Spore probably is on par with Circle of the Moon for me. But like all the other ones are more thematic and more role playing, which is fine. But they don't give the same oomph.
Yeah,
So
no, I get that. I get that. And
yeah. So I
as
give
someone who
it.
has played a Druid, I honestly, it's not. I get where they're trying to go with it, and obviously it's playtest. I would say it's just straight two, and then even with all these elemental things, like I said, it's just accepting mediocrity because it was just so bad comparatively, or so good compared to the bad stuff that it just goes to like a 2.5 to a 3. Like, yeah, it's useful, but honestly, I might as well just play the regular fifth edition variant. Or if you're playing Pathfinder, you might as well just continue playing that. Like, in my opinion, there is
Right.
no real calling to play this.
Right. So if you watch this video, if you gotten this far, thanks. Definitely, look it over yourself, but definitely hit the survey, which I'll probably actually have to do now. Um, but yeah, I give 2.5. It's because it is real meh.
It's
It doesn't give anything that it
I'm not
feels
gonna lie. I would
if
rather play Warlock over this for the sheer fact
if
that
well you haven't seen
Warlock
it,
was
Warlock might be even more garbage. Warlock could have gotten worse.
I'm talking about like fifth edition Warlock.
Ranger,
I'm talking about what is set right
Ranger,
now.
Ranger. No, I'd still play a druid over a warlock. This druid over any warlock. Um, Ranger seems like an upgrade to this druid. Actually, I didn't even look at the OneD&D Ranger. I think they did do a OneD&D Ranger. Um, anyway, so yeah, that's druid.
Yeah, thank you all for watching.
Yeah,
We appreciate it.
yeah,
If you even watched it.
yeah. Let us know what you think about the druid, or which side of the argument for spellcasting you take, whether or not Brandon is right in allowing his casters to cast any spell on any
Like
list.
I said, like it's not
Um,
all the time.
no, you chose your side in this argument,
Oh, I 100% chose
Mister
it. I'm also
Mister
just
Associates,
saying certain
Mister
ones.
Associates degree community college sugar daddy has
It's
been
really
one.
bad since I only have an associates in security related stuff. So
What's what the funny part is I have an associates in business administration and management.
I was going for one of those, and I was
That's
like, let me
why
play a career
that's
path.
that from a community college. So that's why I am allowed to talk shit.
I went to a technical college for cybersecurity
I also have a
or
bachelor's degree in
infrastructure.
electrical mechanical engineering technology. So from a university. So from an ABET certified tech. Anyway, let us know what you think about the druid. Let us know what you think about the spellcasting argument. And make sure you like and subscribe if you've gotten this far. Also, we love you.
Arguably, the most important thing about this is this poll,
Right,
specifically our
right,
the
exactly.
druid thing. It doesn't
Whatever,
matter.
Druid is side. Druid is side.
Yeah,
It's
this is the main argument.
people are gonna people. Tim, vote for me. All right, see you. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And now you get to listen to the outro song. And that's the outro song.